thing that's changed for TSM is just their attitude and how serious they're taking it. Oddworn was a huge community personality and everyone loved him, and it's a huge thing to change and like say no, we need to step down, but they're really set on winning, so they're just, their attitude about the game itself is like, we need to win, we'll do whatever it takes to win.
Looks like they're going to have to go in with the same idea, because to meet a level of what happened last game, both teams wanted to win and they went at each other's throats. So if that's the case, we're going to get another good one.
Yeah, I mean, is today the day of the upsets? Because we've definitely had a monster one.
Who knows? Well, welcome back, everyone. To day 3 here, the summer split action. It is heating up, and we're getting set for our third match. Evil Geniuses versus Team Solo Mid. After a big loss to Cloud9 on day 1, we've seen TSM playing with more confidence and looking much stronger.
Yeah, we're really starting to see how well the new team is working together. Amazing has been bringing a lot of jungle pressure and really looks to be playing in lockstep with the rest of the team. His 2 games yesterday were fantastic. Glebe has also been making some big plays and is looking more and more comfortable with his partner Wild Turtle, as long as Wild Turtle holds up his end of the bargain.
And now Glebe will face off against his old AD carry Altec.
This is actually kind of cool, because before taking it up with EG, Altec was playing with Glebe on the Challenger Team Cloud9 Tempest. And we have to point out as well that the reason Glebe and Altec didn't win their way into the LCS was because they lost their promotion series to Evil Geniuses. So don't expect Altec to be pulling any punches or giving his old support any passes. Evil Geniuses are 0-3, and they really want to pick up wins so they don't spend another split at the bottom of the standings.
It's interesting how we have this scenario in 2 places of the AD carries now fighting their old supports. So let's check out the starting lineups here on the blue side. It's Evil Geniuses. In the top lane, it's Inox, Snoopy in the jungle, stealing those Barons, Pole Belter in mid lane, Altec and ADC, Grepo on support.
And on the red side, it is Team Solo Mid. Dyrus in the top lane, Amazing in the jungle, Bjergsen in the mid lane, Wild Turtle on AD carry, and of course the new guy Glebe on support.
Let's see what they can have for themselves. The chance still always going to be there.
Yep.
Once they were allies, everyone. Now they're going to face off in battle. Our featured matchup coming into this game is Altec versus Glebe, our first mismatch here.
Yeah, so far these guys are trying to transition into their new teams, and for Glebe, he's actually 3rd in the LCS in assists. We've only had 1 day to see Altec in action, but he's performed well with Evil Geniuses in his debut. He got 8 kills in his first game. Despite their rough start, they very nearly came back to defeat the now #1 Dignitas at 3-0. And even having missed the first day of games, Altec actually started 2nd in total kills when we started the day. So in the end, only one of these guys can win. Will it be the guy on EG or on TSM?
Oh, I'm sure they both want each other to win in camaraderie.
That's how it works. Yeah, you'd be like, yeah, I want the other guy to win. That's what happened with Wild Turtle Next Special yesterday.
Especially if they're on your fantasy team.
Yeah, that's true.
So with these guys going head-to-head now, obviously TSM does not want the same thing to happen. I'm sure they're not thinking about too much, but now they're like, well, that's a possibility. We won't let that happen. So what Snoopy was saying is that they will do anything to win is probably going to be amped up a little bit more.
Yeah, we saw that TSM was 12-2 against the bottom half of the standings in the spring split of 2014, and they generally take care of business against these teams. EG definitely not starting the season looking good. They've actually probably shown about the same amount of signs of life that Complexity had in the first 3 games. Definitely not performing very well, but anything can happen.
Anything can happen, and they're still allowing Inox to kind of play something that will allow the game to be carried by him. Snoopy also taking out Kha'Zix the other day to put a little bit more damage pressure on the map instead of kind of just trying to snowball the lanes and get everybody going.
Yeah, EG is trying to find their niche as far as what they can be successful with, because it wasn't with the tank top laners. They tried that with Inox last split, and they seem very committed to let him play his own champion pool. It's just finding success with that strategy is difficult.
No Burger King Soraka on this one. Shyvana being taken out as well by Evil Geniuses. Dyrus, one of most favorite, but looks like he might get a Renekton in this game. It's not taken out too soon. Inox really not putting too much play time on that. Overall, TSM is kind of not taking full direction from Glebe, but he definitely has a pretty big voice on the team starting off.
Oh yeah, Glebe really talks a lot, especially in Jam Select. He's 70 to 80% of their communication, it seems. So definitely a welcome addition in that sense. TSM in the past, especially once Reginald was gone, when they start losing, teams are generally silent.
Yep.
Glebe's the guy who can keep talking, try to keep the spirits up.
Silence is chaos. Sounds a little weird, but it's an exact relation within League of Legends.
It's a deafening silence.
Lulu being banned out. LeBlanc seems to be making it through. A lot of things the TSM would love to play in this game may get right to them. The first pick of EG is going to be pretty critical here as the Kassadin gets shunned away, but they do take the LB with the Lulu ban. Kind of figuring that was coming.
Pobelthu's got a real strong LeBlanc game. What's TSM going to be able to pick up on the backside of that? Lucian, of course.
Yep.
Number 280 carry. Do they give amazing as Lee Sin? It went unbanned. There we go. We get to see it. That's
Very
what he
nice.
became known for.
The wheelhouse champion.
Yeah.
For amazing.
On the Copenhagen Wolves, his Lee Sin kind of reinvented the way you initiate a little bit with Lee Sin. Not just ward jumping behind the person you queued to, but ward jumping and kicking back another person.
Yeah.
Effortlessly, it seems like. He doesn't even have to think about it at this point when he's playing Lee Sin.
It's always so hard. I'll miss something. You try to do it. It is very mechanically tough to do, but these guys get it every day. That Lucian being picked up, we just saw Robert X. Lee have an amazing game on that. We'll see what Wild Turtle can do as they ban out Twitch this time, and he's been pretty heavily picking that. Snoopy. Locking in that Morgana. Crepo has played that constantly.
Oh, yeah.
And it really does give Alltech and Crepo a pretty solid lane.
EG was first picking the Morgana many times near the end of the spring split. Surprising they're hovering it for so long without locking. They're probably just deciding which 80 carry to go with. Whoop! Or just deciding to go with Kazakhs. All right, saving the 80 carry pick for later.
Snoopy likes that. Yeah, they do. They already saw the jungler, so they just take it. They're not trying to show cards for a top laner, but neither is Team Solo mid. They still have Renekton coming in for Dyrus if necessary. Bam.
Huh. Well, they do not know if they're going against a Kazakhs in the top lane or not.
That's true.
Thresh is a safe pick for Glebe.
With
and
Inox.
Renekton is a safe pick for the top lane. Really, all of TSM is picking very safe right now. That's probably just the most comfortable champion for all those guys right now.
Yeah. Makes it easy to go down the line, really, within the first two picks that they would want in any LCS game. As he said, EG is kind of getting the same thing. Crepo, like you said, on his Morgana. Snoopy with the Kazakhs yesterday, but we also saw Inox on that. With the Lee Sin being out, Jax being out. I don't know if Inox has too many more choices other than a Trundle. Alltech and Crepo, though, to lock in these last two. What kind of mid lane, or rather, jungler? No, they have it. 80 carry, there we go.
There we go. Well,
Seeing
they got a lot of stuff
everything.
left to go.
Bam.
Yeah. Kazakhs top lane
So
against
it does
Renekton.
become the jungler.
They better be lane swapping that because Kazakhs will get eaten alive by Renekton. Once again, running just a very pick-focused team for EG, needing to find the catches where they may, and again, a lot of control out of the TSM lineup. There it is, Syndra
Wow.
or Bjergsen.
Gonna see a little ball play coming in.
Syndra versus LeBlanc matchup is a fascinating one to watch. Two people that can kind of kill each other at any moment. We've seen when Boy played Syndra, he
Right.
tries to use his E while LeBlanc dashes in to stop the damage for it. Really tricky to execute move. He could do it fairly reliable. Let's see how Bjergsen does it, as he is often drawn Syndra bans. He got a pentakill with it over in the European LCS before he became a member of TSM. It's one of his long-standing dominant champions.
Seeing Syndra kind of flickers into my head of Xiao Xiao's play on LeBlanc.
Yeah.
Bjergsen will go off by himself and try to solo people this game. He is going to be looking to assassinate as well. Let's play a little bit of trickery with the team as usual. TSM always having a very strong early game because they don't flex themselves into too many bad positions. They say we can do it early because you will more than not make mistakes.
Yeah, and watching TSM's game yesterday against Complexity, they played more controlled than I've seen them in quite some time. It really looked kind of like Season 2 TSM, where they were just solidly winning their lanes, reacting to the other team, and just slowly just crushing them.
All right, we'll see what happens before the game gets underway. We want to see who you are voting to win on this one. According to LOLesports.com, that's a 90% vote, but we just saw one of those votes.
Yeah, but remember, keep voting, because that could change throughout the game. Send your picks to @LOLesports and use the hashtag EGWin or TSMWin, depending on how you think the game's going to go.
Inox played quite strong for Evil Geniuses yesterday, and we have seen pretty good numbers for Alltech. It seems like most of the 80 carry switches and the support duos have been working to an extent, but it's not coming together with the team when they necessarily need it.
It's a long learning process, because you find this a lot actually when you play new champions. Oftentimes, if you're playing a lot of them, you will learn your laning mechanics first, because that's what you're doing every single game, and it's something that you can repeat over and over again. But as soon as the team fight phase starts, that's when you start seeing some of the issues, because that is so dynamic and has so many different scenarios. It takes a long time to know exactly what to do in team fights with new champions as well as with new lane partners.
I remember back to the first split, it was so prevalent that teams would get to the late game, and in the LCS kind of match, they wouldn't have that kind of stressful late game, and nobody would end. And we were saying, when are people going to practice this late game? And it took a few splits, but it seems like everybody knows how to continually organizing themselves now throughout the game instead of just stalling things out until somebody makes that big mistake.
Yeah, every time you play League, you learn something else. It's crazy to think, especially with TSM, a team that has completely different team members than they did in the Season 1 World Championship. Crazy to think that they've been along this long, but the game was so different back in Season 1. And every time someone does something good, nice flash burn, it just adds to the League knowledge of everyone else, because it's much easier to mimic and just grow the things people take for granted nowadays that used to blow people's minds back in the day. So these guys like Amazing, new on the scene, continually trying to innovate.
Safe play from EG to get vision on the map. Same thing's going to happen on both sides as per usual. We'll see what happens. Last game, we had a very quick triple kill in the bottom lane. I don't think anybody's going to be privy to that on this one. That was a little out of the ordinary. Seeing a lot of Corki play, however, though. Starting to pick him up.
He's like the third AD carry.
Yeah.
Altec has already had one Corki game. It was his much weaker game. He got a little bit crushed. He's down at least 50 CS.
And we got to remember,
Really
EG's last game didn't exactly end in a defense of their base. It was a wrong call made, and a push by the other team was able to end that one out. So really hoping they structure their calls more soundly today.
Flash down on Amazing, takes a lot of his early game pressure out. Should be good for the EG lanes.
A little bit of aggression there. Pobelter quickly distorts in. Yeah, standard lanes going very nicely throughout these games. When you go for that 2 push and you don't get much, it's kind of slow. Want to see some action in Super Week, and it looks like it's going to be Inox versus Dyrus as they make their way to this top lane. Dyrus will do as Renekton does best, start going right at it.
Yeah, I mean, Dyrus really wants that matchup, and especially with Lucian Thresh as well. TSM really wants this matchup. Syndra really wants a 1v1 in the mid lane as well. TSM gets what they want with these lanes. EG thinking they can outplay, though.
Nice piercing light harasses from Wild Turtle. Also putting a push on the lane is going to stick Crepo right against that turret. Harder to hit the Dark Binding. So TSM already kind of structuring the way they want that bottom lane to work. And Blue gets picked up from Snoopy as the junglers just about on the same route here.
Yeah, not only did we see standard lanes, we saw standard jungle starts. There wasn't actually a stolen blue or red buff. This game, as conventional as they come.
Is this League?
I know, is this League of Legends? Honestly, it doesn't even look like an LCS game at the start, because there's usually something that happens. There we had kind of the deep wards, and they decided not to. So a very standard or old school game coming out from TSM and EG. As they're both pretty old school teams.
Pobelter's LeBlanc right now, really making Bjergsen rethink the situation. Not going to go down to Ignite.
One more auto attack.
He was holding his breath.
Would have taken him down. But the flash is burned by Pobelter. And the Ignite goes down as well, so Bjergsen could potentially aggress if he gets something when he comes back to the lane. Still a nice move by Pobelter early.
Really great. It's going to pull Amazing in, so without flash pressure now, with knowledge of the jungler, things can get a little hairy for EG, and it looks like they're going to put some pressure on the top lane.
Dyrus still flash and slice and dice up. Inox going to try and make him into a trade, though. Slices, dices,
and flashes. 3 simple steps to stay alive.
Still, he burned a lot there.
Yeah.
And the wave might be frozen in a bad spot for him. He actually needs Amazing to come up there so he can get that lane moving again. That's exactly what we see Amazing doing.
If they can do that once again, teleports down, so Dyrus is going to have a long walk back to the lane. But like you said, Amazing, he's going to try to put the same thing in order here. Snoopy coming in. He actually uses the repels to
really
close.
aggressive.
So they are going to have to be stuck in this fight. The flash from Snoopy, because repel was already used. Inox forced to jump out now. Dyrus and Amazing definitely having the upper hand here, but there's no more slow to be applied as Snoopy tucks himself in the minions.
It was a nice move there by Amazing to make it up to the top lane. Obviously, he needed to be up there so Dyrus could get the minion wave into the lane and still maintain experience, because with the threat of Snoopy there was no way Dyrus could do that. But Snoopy absolutely overcommitted for that gank. Using his repel in with no actual sight of Lee Sin is just a disaster waiting to happen. Amazing ahead of him there, and Snoopy honestly made a mistake.
And Pole Belter timing his back with Bjergsen's nicely so doesn't lose any CS. Also keeps up with the rings and vision for himself, so he'll have a bit better time going aggressive on Bjergsen, especially now that Amazing may be called to stay in the back pocket there in mid lane.
Yeah, well, surprising, Amazing is actually level 5 right now, so he's gotten a lot of lane experience. Remember when Bjergsen went back to base, he got to sit in the mid lane, and then he also helped shove when Dyrus was up there, so we could be seeing level 6 Lee Sin kick gank coming in pretty quick.
Good little bit of pressure. Pole Belter almost in range for a distortion chain.
Bjergsen may have died if that cocoon hit him. Pole Belter had his full burst combo ready to go, and it would have been lined up, so a very timely dodge by Bjergsen.
Still going aggressive. A lot of teams are kind of seeing that the aggression, even though it is the thing that's going to get you killed sometimes, is actually the thing that gives you the lead in this super week. A lot of teams that have been pushing buttons and really getting the upper hand here. And right now they're pushing TSM's buttons. Gank on Bjergsen in the mid lane is almost a kill, so they're wary.
Yeah, still no first blood in this game. Inox staying pretty aggressive. Really trading pretty fortuitously.
Trying to get that amplified damage in.
Yeah, our Nectin's let that too tall to enter top lane. Well, he must be this tall to enter top lane.
Yep.
And Kazakh is pretty short by height standards.
Standing on his toes right now.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. I'd say Inox is outplaying Dyrus in that matchup just to stay even at this point.
Gotta watch Pole Belter. Amazing on the other side. Gets himself very nicely away. That is gonna be a dead Pole Belter.
Wow. Even with the 2 Dorans, Bjergsen knew exactly how much damage. He hit level 6 so in tune with the Ignite and Ultimate, he leveled that skill up immediately. And Pole Belter didn't have time to even flash away. The instant he saw he was level 6, he flashed, but the Ignite and Ult had already been started. Too many balls on the ground, dead Pole Belter.
He had just enough mana, too, to reel all that damage out. Like you said, knew what was going down. Bjergsen really not feeling any pressure, even after Pole Belter pushes him out early in the game. Takes out kill for himself. 700 gold on that lead.
I would love to see how quickly Bjergsen leveled up that ultimate before using it, because it was seemingly instant. That's what so many Cinder games are going to get you. Check this out. He actually is level 5 for quite some time, and I wonder where he gets that last hit. It just happened instantly. How quickly can you level up and use your ultimate on the enemy? Perfect stuff from Bjergsen.
Pulls out that Syndra. Plays it in solo queue for a reason. Play it at the top level and win with it. Teleport back to the top lane. Inox is 6 now, but now with Dyrus, he's actually going to back. I was going to say that may be jungle or dragon pressure if they're allowed to get to it. Blue buff going over to Bjergsen as that pressure on dragon is starting to be set up. Shouldn't see too much though as Snoopy dodges out that sonic wave.
Yeah, amazing with his ultimate as well. More powerful level 6 than Elise. Elise just gets that extra spiderling. Just nice, but not the same as a Lee Sin kick. And also, the low cooldown on Cinder's ultimate really makes her so much more threatening. He just killed Pole Belter with it, and it's back up again. So Pole Belter has to be wary. He's down a full chalice in items.
Back and forth. Pole Belter still trying to get in the hair of Bjergsen here, but TSM starting to make their moves. They want to start putting kink in this gameplay for Evil Geniuses. Pressure all over the map.
Oh,
Crapo puts it onto Altec. He really wasn't in range for much. A little bit of a mistake there is going to cost him his life. Can Altec turn it around? Yes, he will get the kill here. Turning it on to Glebe. No mana. This is all about the auto attacks. And with Glebe having a shield, he should be able to put himself in a great situation. Glebe with the plays. A few more auto attacks. He's stuck in the minions and he can't get out. How unfortunate.
The old friends become enemies right there. And Glebe walks away with a double kill, getting the post-flash death sentence. You want your AD carry to get those double kills, but it feels good as a support if you have your AD carry fall and get those back. Glebe pumped after that kill.
Good retribution kill there for his teammate. Snoopy seeing what he can do about pushing Amazing off here. He gets the start of damage. Good block by the spiders, and Amazing is forced out of this one. It looks like he'll give a little bit of pressure, though, with Bjergsen.
Take another look at this one. It all starts with the 1 death sentence onto Crapo. Crapo black shield to the wrong target, but then Wild Turtle dash right into a bunch of pain, so Altec is able to go through. And we have a dive coming, so there's no time for replays.
Oh, Inox gets kicked immediately. They're just trying to deal out the damage. A ring around the rosy is a popular game today.
Yeah, he had his ultimate when the majority of the damage hit there, so he was able to survive the Lee Sin kick and then burn his flash to get away. Maybe a repeat gank for TSM if they come back up there.
Pings down towards the bottom lane. Oh, it's just a ward clear coming in, making sure Glebe has safety for Wild Turtle in the bottom lane. Definitely a bit more of an aggressive bottom lane, even when they don't know where the jungler is.
Yeah, they're surprising with that move there, landing the hook and going all in instead of just playing passive, even with the Targons as well being built up. Really showing in the CS advantage. So 17 up is Wild Turtle over Altec, despite dying in that duel.
So you can finish the Bloodthirster first. Get that pressure on with more damage. It's going to help Altec definitely, as Wild Turtle has been able to keep him under the turret. So once Altec can get that big damage out with some missiles, he'll be able to keep Wild Turtle and Glebe at bay for those plays. Like you said, 20 CS in that lane, so it's not going to be easy. Back to the top side, not too much going on between these two.
Yeah, they know the flash and ult is down, so if he gets in, Inox is playing so aggressive right now with no backup. It might even be catching TSM a little bit off guard. They got to go soon though, otherwise his ultimate's going to be back up.
Mind games here from Dyrus. You can see him charging up, trying to get more and more. So patient.
Yep.
That's all he has to do is keep minions between him and the opponent.
TSM should have pulled the trigger about 15 seconds prior when Inox was in the minion wave, but they wanted him to go a little bit farther, and it ended up being too big of a waste of time for Amazing. Does not successfully help out Dyrus.
See Pobelter's build here. He felt like he was actually doing quite well in the lane with that push out, and he builds no magic resistance, even being burst out just a few seconds ago. Goes for boots right away.
Yeah, he's got to play super cautious against Bjergsen. It's his confidence in himself to dodge the scout shots.
Oh, there you go.
Ooh, double sweep, unfortunate.
Right in the back pocket of Bjergsen. Knows they're going to try to give him trouble, especially with the blue buff. Good read by Amazing there, as Pobelter trying to get on some free damage before he gets out safely. Here's more plays from Glebe and Wild Turtle. The dodge is out. They're still going to have to eat that culling, and that's the lane pressure that TSM continues to win.
Yep, and no sustain for them. They're going to try and Vamp Scepter heal a little bit up, but that could very well cost them a bunch of turret damage. So, I mean, even though Altec had 8 kills in his first game, he's actually had the lowest CS of 10 of all 80 carries in North America. Some might have to do with EG actually 2v2ing, where everyone else has just been getting free farm, but Teleport comes in. Turtle, you're in trouble.
Oh, wow! Turtle trying to get over to the Lantern, does not know he just delivered himself gift wrap to Inox and the rest of the team. That's a good kill coming in for Altec, puts him 2-1-0 as the AD carry for EG. And a possible dragon here, a little bit of pressure. It looks like Bjergsen will stay mid.
Really nice call there by EG, and good play by Inox to teleport in and then be stealthed as Wild Turtle is rotating through. Once again, Glebe in the right position. Wild Turtle just a little bit too far from home.
Looks like they'll get Bjergsen his blue buff nice and easy. He can start to control the mid lane once again. It's actually quite close between those two, 106 to 113. And just that kill from Bjergsen that got a little bit of, actually wasn't even really that much help.
Stop the recall. Glebe playing a really good game on Thresh so far. Difficult with that death sentence against a Morgana. You have to play that guessing game with the black shield from Morgana. So far, Glebe's been doing it just right.
A lot of when we saw Morgana coming out, people would bring out the Leona because the Zenith Blade will still bring in, and then you go ahead and you stun the AD carry. But I haven't seen too much of her. Got some good ones, but not as of recent. 3-2 as we are coming up onto 14 minutes. Dyrus is going to go ahead and walk it all the way back to lane. This gives him teleport advantage as well. The lane was being held in by Inox. Doesn't know how much pressure he can put on this one. And Amazing again is going to let him know just how much pressure.
And this game is actually pretty close. We got to remember, TSM has 2 roster changes here, and there is some adjustment periods to see how long until they meshed. Yesterday, Amazing looked very good, and today he's on his bread and butter champion, Lee Sin. You would expect him to attempt to dominate this one, but he spent a lot of time top lane, and not many of those trips have led to actual kills. Again, he shows it does burn the ultimate of Inox, but not much else.
Good dive out there. Now, would not have been a good fight, especially with Amazing being able to reveal. See him go and get into position. Snoopy's going to try to recover and figure out what's going on in the jungle, and this may be a little bit of damage control here from EG. Won't be able to do much, but they do get TSM out with any harm done, really. There's the blue buff they may be looking for, though. Just spawning up. This is going to be big for Pobelter to get. AB carries are kind of effective in this game with the amount of damage they're doing on Syndra and LeBlanc.
And Bjergsen really the one coming together with his items. Athene's Unholy Grail completed, whereas Pobelter is probably just slowly building up towards the Deathfire Grasp. That would be his first item. Go back and get that needlessly large rod.
Oh, maybe?
Oh,
so close.
Almost.
No cigar.
I wonder if they're going to use that knowledge to see if Snoopy can set up a gank.
Could be walking through a ward. They're trying to get something in the mid right now. If he goes up, he's going to be seen. There it is, Bjergsen. He looks like he's going to walk down. Xpecial's not hovering up. Nobody's going to be there in time. Bjergsen hitting the wall. Looks like he will be safe, however. Flash for a flash.
Decent force there by Snoopy. It'll make Bjergsen much more vulnerable when Pobelter comes back with a needlessly large rod, which he should be doing fairly shortly. I think that's definitely worth it, considering the relative strength of Bjergsen versus Snoopy right now, to trade flashes like that.
So Snoopy, amazing, both on the hunt. Great wards by both teams. They're kind of just same spot in it because they know where they need to go, but who's going to have the better fight coverage once they get there? Fighting in the jungle is going to be pretty damn good for a team with the AoE. They'll even put down a box, but then you have Preppo putting down the Soul Shackle, so once it gets to that fight, it's going to be quite scary for both teams. 17 minutes in, TSM has that gold lead, so the fight could go their way.
And I still think it's so funny here. Second game in a row for TSM, where they really just look like they're in a time machine and they're playing in Season 2. The lanes are completely standard. There weren't fancy jungle invades. They have small advantages in their lane. They're not making mistakes, and there's a chance they're going to have the 3 turret to 0 lead because they controlled all the lanes enough to take down the turrets. They did this all the time in Season 2 when they were so dominant.
Great damage. A nice stun as Pobelter tries to come in. Dyrus goes right for the turret. He knows exactly what they want and actually trying to initiate a stun as well. Amazing. Very, very close to getting locked up here for more damage. Safety from the volatile Spiderling. And they may be setting up for Dragon. 1 minute and 30 seconds here, but EG finally formulating a bit of power in the mid lane.
Yeah, so much map control. Now for TSM being up 3 turrets, you almost never see this anymore. With how many teams would just fast push turrets down, to actually be up 3 turrets to 0 means every single lane had a superior amount of control. Crazy to think that it's the TSM from Season 2 with like 1 member from that team. Because Dyrus is the only remaining member from when they used to play like this. It's still going to work for them though, because it was a tried and tested strategy, and if EG is willing to let TSM go that way, they'll take it.
Going back to the wheelhouse strategies never hurts. It was always TSM kind of adapting. Play the same game and then just figure out how you're
just react to their enemy.
Right. Never put yourself in a bad situation. It works out the majority of the time. Everything getting cleared out in the jungle as EG really has nothing to pressure right now without that dragon being up, but a good chance to steal from both sides. A lot of gap closers can come over the wall from EG to put them in a perfect position or a disengage if they want to be in and out for this dragon.
And because of the 3 turrets, it's really unsafe for EG to find their spots against a Syndra, who will basically, since there's no magic resist built up, be able to kill anyone if he gets the right setup. Even just a death sentence coming out of the Fog of War. EG kind of has their backs against the wall.
15 seconds prior to Dragon, the ping goes down. Dyrus staying in the face of Inox right now, making sure the teleport isn't there, but Inox chugging down the potion. It looks like these guys are going to go hard as the ultimate gets put down by Inox. You can see when he disappears, gone. Dyrus has no idea. This is Dyrus's vision. He still wants to fight. Flashes and slices into that one. Will the dice follow? It forces the flash on Inox, and the Dragon has been prepped now by Team Solo Mid.
Yeah, but EG is in position. There's not complete vision starvation there. Inox will need to heal up if he wants to match teleports, because Dyrus definitely has enough health and could be a contributor in this team fight. EG even able to get in range to clean out the pink ward. Surprising the TSM would give it up so readily, but Bjergsen wants to go back and buy.
They're going to hold it. Dyrus, like you said, with that teleport up, something TSM has had to work on in the past, but really something they've locked down as they play back and forth. 12 to 11.
Definition of back and forth.
The definition of 165 to 149. Not a huge lead in that lane. damage to defense in the Hydra build for Inox to Dyrus' Sunfire Cape right now. And it looks like he's going to give Inox as much pressure as possible. Both of these guys will contribute greatly to the Dragon fight, so they'll probably just go for the 1v1.
Yeah, TSM now strongly moving. Pobelter actually went back to base after Bjergsen did to finish his Deathfire Grasp. Means a nice Dragon pickup for TSM.
There's the 1v1 right in each other's face. Inox actually just hit 12. Not going to give him
With
too
the
much
Hydra, he has
more
more
damage.
sustain than Dyrus.
Absolutely.
Plus
Dyrus
his
looks to
ultimate's back
slice
up.
over the wall. He hits White. That's going to be a little extra. Gets the heal down from Cole, the Meek. But he also gets taken down because he's just too weak for that fight. 20 minutes in, Dyrus takes a hit.
Dyrus felt much safer than he should have there because he'd won the previous trade, and he underestimated the sustain advantage of having that early Ravenous Hydra. So Inox, with all of his practice on the top lane squishy assassins, outplays the conventional Renekton Dyrus. Just watching this one more time. This was just how long they've been fighting for as the Dragon went down, and being in the minions doesn't actually help Dyrus here because the Hydra is hitting all of them anyway, helping Inox lifesteal.
Sliced and diced out the last bit of that Fury too instead of stunning up, but Inox still would have been able to chase. You can see these guys using their champions to that max ability to get the kills. Good sidestep here. Snoopy gets caught up, but that could be Glebe going down. Deathfire Grasp goes out with the full combo. It does not connect right away.
Even with the DFG, wasn't enough to take down Glebe. He's got that Chalice of Harmony working towards him at Kales, so pretty difficult to take down. There's a big old Thresh right there. Still, almost 4 turrets for TSM. Even if they took a small hit here and there, the overall war is still being won by TSM.
Quite a slow game from really what we've been seeing in the action of Super Week. Now 3-3 coming in. The junglers have had 0 participation around the board. They've been all over. They've been near the fights, but 0 participation for them just yet. Amazing. Really actually playing well for TSM coming into games 2 and 3. And we know them coming off the loss of Cloud9 is something they don't want to continue. They want to start that W column rising again.
Oh, Dyrus actually backing off of Inox.
Yeah.
Not even thinking about trading this time. Inox going to be able to get very farmed with this continuing. Still though, got a 3,500 gold disadvantage. And EG would have to find a way of sieging turrets, which is kind of the fault they've been falling into with these squishy top laners. Yes, Inox can do well in lane, but transitioning the game without a tank is not something League of Legends teams have been able to do. Kind of in the history of the game, unless they're a very strong poke comp.
They have the idea of clearing wards. They still need a few more wards, at least Wraith, something below them as they have displaced. But to go to mid would be quite scary right now. It's almost dark completely around Evil Geniuses. So as they set themselves up, they do look to create a little bit of pressure. Crepo baiting out a hook there from Glebe. They're not really coordinating their power right now. They're just allowing TSM to hold them off. 2 members easy. The wave coming up behind. We'll see what they can do as TSM congregates in middle to stop this.
Well, they're hoping to get a catch with the Elise for the Morgana, and then that would line up a Pobelter DFG combo. They're keeping Inox in the top, because honestly he has an advantage, and they want to use that to try and create a split push opportunity, because team fighting as 5 is not the way you play it without a tank.
Turtle says he has to back, uses the culling to wipe out the wave immediately, and EG was ready for that wave. So now, not really wasted time, but they're not getting anything out of Xiao just being in mid. Inox, no help to Dyrus in the top lane. Looks like they're just back and forth on the island.
Dead even CS as well. It's the other roles of TSM that are giving them this gold advantage, as well as the 3 turrets TSM has been able to take down. Bjergsen might decide to just go death cap there. When he gets that, he'll be a very powerful Syndra. Easy farming for Inox. But once again, it'll be about his transition. He's doing great in lane right now, but how much can they really use that to their edge? Because if Dyrus is playing passively, he's not even able to get turret damage.
Playing that Fog of War game coming out from Evil Geniuses. TSM likes their chances pushing down mid. Dyrus with the teleport ready to come into the fight if necessary. Looks like they may try to back off here. They want to get coverage on what's going on towards the top side of the jungle. And the ping towards mid from Evil Geniuses. They're going to try to dictate the game here as they have TSM spread.
Yeah, they're thinking the TSM is moving towards Inox in that top lane, so therefore They're pushing mid lane to make sure they can't fully collapse onto Inox. It's kind of the team saving him from being a little bit extended there.
Just for their wards would help quite a bit. Every ward, one that seems to be placed down, there's two on the side of TSM, keeping it even safer. Crepo off by himself, doing what he can. He's got up to the Moby boots right away after the Sightstone. We have the Mikhail's Crucible finished over on Glebe, so you can just see the influx of money he has in 2 kills, really assisting the team to facilitate more and more fights. Slow game. Definitely compared to last game.
The last game was a little bit crazy.
As much love for fighting here between these two teams.
Can't expect that every time. TSM playing much more controlled here. EG wanting to latch onto a TSM mistake, but TSM just isn't leaving any doors open. I think TSM wants to force this next Dragon fight, knowing they have the Death Cap, Triforce completed, Mikhail's, all the big items they actually want are pretty much there. Snoopy is trying to tank up as much as possible, knowing they don't really have a front line and he's going to have to be the one to go in. But without a huge amount of farm dedicated to him or a bunch of kills, he's not going to be able to be that tanky. He's trying to stack resistances for now, but he could go down pretty fast if we see a team fight.
Hooks coming out from Glebe, only so far off each time. Now we actually have a switch up between Dyrus and Inox.
They're going to kill it real fast, so EG has to make up their mind very quickly.
No teleport from Dyrus. Inox able to actually join the fight if he wanted to. Dyrus now starting to teleport in. He's going to be right in the middle. Cobalts are forced to distortion away. 2 out of the 3 dragons in the game now have gone to Team Solo Mid in a 5,000 gold lead.
Yep. A slow and steady game from TSM. They played the same way against Complexity and were able to get some solid wins. They don't really have to take risks against these teams in their mind because they're going to be better than them playing safe, and that has been true so far against EG.
Look at the focus as much as EG does around Inox as a carry. They don't have a situational team to formulate their composition around that. If he gets fed, they don't really have anything to protect him. Everybody else is trying to get fed as well.
Yeah, a fed Kha'Zix is often a reflection on the rest of the team because he's so good at cleanup.
Oh, invisible once again, stays for the fight. Actually gets some good damage if he can get some. No, he cannot get some lifesteal. I was going to say one last attack and maybe the Hydra to add it in there, but not enough to keep him alive. Dyrus now has the upper hand in the bottom lane. TSM finally have a big move to play now, and it's going. No, Dyrus has actually come to mid here. They're going to go straight for it.
Yeah, they want to finish off this turret. They got a lot of harass out of Snoopy. The Dyrus win on one side gives them the confidence required to take the mid lane turret. 4 turrets to 0.
Nicely done. A very back and forth game between the top laners there. Dyrus able to win out that one after he got a little bit more armor.
I mean, this was Inox starting the fight
very low.
Exactly. He needed to try and play the sustained battle if he wanted to win this one, and Dyrus knew that. Dyrus has a lot of experience. He underestimated Inox once. This time, he finishes him off while Inox continues to fight, flashing after, and just uses his rage.
It's a lot of damage. Dominus ticking quite fast. Like 60 damage level 2 that's hitting you.
Especially once he hits level 16. It's actually one of the few skills in the game that has multiplicative scaling. Instead of going 200 health to 400 health to 600, it goes 2 to 4 to 8. Same with the damage. It goes 30, 60, 120. So that level 16 is going to make it even more difficult for Inox to duel him, even though he gets his 3rd evolution.
Right. 240 to 240 in that lane in CS, Jat. I don't know how much more head-to-head it can get. The assist to Inox is really only the participation. He has more over Dyrus in their fights. Slow game still for the junglers. They're fending for themselves at 106 and 118 CS, but still having an impact on the pressure of the game. 5,000 gold lead. Hasn't really creeped away any more for TSM right now, but it's going to be Baron pressure quite soon. You can see Glebe and Turtle setting up defense on that. It's not going to be long before EG has to pressure.
Yeah. They're hoping that something comes to them in order to make a play, but it seems like all the cards are actually held by TSM.
29-minute first turret for EG.
At least they got one. No teleport up for Dyrus, so he has to go deal with that. And I think the 4v4 will continue for TSM. They're pretty darn content doing this one because they're the ones with the standard team composition. So they feel like the later it goes, the higher their chance of winning become. But not if Turtle continues to get caught out of position. This has been a problem for TSM. So far this Super Week, 3 deaths on him.
Yep.
Getting caught once again.
Yesterday, his catches on Twitch, even invisible, thinking he could get
Thinking he was invisible. He was in pink ward.
Right, he walked right into
Yeah.
the pink ward range. Not so good.
Nice move by EG.
Yep.
They found a pick they needed. That's what their whole team is predicated upon. Split pushing and getting picks with their other squad.
Gotta say, the last 10 minutes, definitely patient from EG, if anything. I thought they were really feeling on the back foot, but they were just waiting. They knew what needed to happen. Now start to pressure the turrets. They had nothing at 29 minutes. Now they have 2 and a possible 3rd turret right away. The influx of gold is going to be perfect for them.
Yeah, Dyrus, though, finds the stun on Altec. Does pop his ultimate just for the turret defense, though. That's to stall for Wild Turtle to get back there. Good work.
Strong play from Team Solo Mid. They are not afraid to keep going and going. So Turtle back into the game now, 0-3-2. The Altec's 3-1.
Yeah, it's just a nice dark finding. Wild Turtle sticking around a bit too long trying to kill a ward, and then dashes backwards as the binding follows. Still finds its mark.
EG finally getting those deep wards in, doing a very great job of using them effectively. Turtle almost going down again. That is going to be the ultimate from Bjergsen, one of the highest damage ultimates in the game, but I don't think he had enough spheres on the ground.
No, he just tried to use it. Yep. Basically dry right there. Almost got him down because there's no MR on Pobelter.
It's been a scary situation. That's when your teammates kind of cock their head and look at you. And
Yeah.
No, he's probably going to die in 1 second.
Dangerous, man. Mr. Turtle. It's funny how the Cloud9 Tempest bot lane are the ones that have all the kills in this game. 2 kills for Glebe, 3 kills for Altec. Their new partners are the ones that are potentially
Hey, that's the matchup. They know it. They're trying to play
Yeah.
it harder against each other. Our first mismatched matchup of a lane different to support. So it's going quite well right now for Altec. 272 to 292 in that lane. Wild Turtle making sure he's farming, but doing that has got him killed. So I think he might slow down a little bit. The team's going to let him get all these waves as they pour in.
This is kind of the time of the game where TSM is going to want to get some Baron control, and you can see that with all the wards they have in the blue buff area of EG right now. Even though the Dragon is up, they feel strong enough that they can just take that, and they're more worried about vision denial around Baron. They're going to be now looking for picks onto EG, even though EG is the pick team, and the more they can force EG into one place, the better it is for TSM to maybe land some big AoE Syndra stuns and actually take control of this game.
Amazing. Looking to give a little bit of extra gold over. I like the play at TSM here. They're not giving the idea that something's going on. But Crepo's saying, I don't see enough people.
Yeah,
and amazing feeling the pressure.
They don't even have a pink ward down, so
Right.
that's as soon as you see a hint of movement, Amazing has to be out of there. And EG actually might control this Dragon. They've had some issues going for objectives, though. They lost a game to CLG just trying to take objectives yesterday, and their mid lane is in danger.
8 seconds to back. Glebe's going to try and get vision to stop this. He won't be there for the hook. They're going to head up. They back for base. TSM looks at Baron.
And TSM has very good vision control around this area already. What's going to happen here? The gold is getting extremely close, actually. So TSM having to make their move. Altec is 3-0 right now, but not part of this fight. And there's no vision. They're going to have to go and check this.
The teleport's coming in from the top side. The hook! They threw that out! Beautiful job! Coming down. Where is he going to be? Snoopy finally comes down. He goes out. That is the smite and the perfect one they could have taken down immediately.
But how long until they finish Baron? They don't have the most damage here. It's going down very slowly. They want to continue to peel for more kills. EG trying to poke down as much as possible, but do not have an absurd amount of poke. Altec has a lot of pressure on him right here, and Crep will get told.
Oh, no Soul Shackle. The main source of crowd control in the game is now done. And Dyrus was using his Dominus. I thought that might have been a bad idea, but they seem to be safe. Turtle, he is going to be hit up. The Ignite as Pobelter does get a save for himself in this fight. Altec is going to live to that Ignite on the outside.
And Inox is still in there.
No, he goes down to the full Ignite from Bjergsen. Wrong call there, and it looks like they will start to clean up on the side of Team Solo Mid. 4 down for EG.
But 3 down for TSM. In no way was that a clean force. Yes, they got Snoopy and Crepo down, but then the tankiness, honestly, of Inox caught TSM completely by surprise. He was in there for a while and did a bunch of damage. Turtle fell again because Pobelter was able to get around the flank, and it was a pretty successful engagement there for EG if you consider. They got the Dragon and then traded the 3 for 4 despite Snoopy getting caught out. So watching this one more time, it's really just TSM. Yeah, they burned a little bit onto Snoopy, but it's just about how much poke EG can get down. Turtle, he can't really keep himself safe from a LeBlanc unless the rest of the team is able to peel for him. and they're continuing to damage Baron here. They try to peel off a little bit. Kreppel gets hooked, and EG is really just trying to keep their distance. How much poking they really get down? At that moment, Pobelter gets Turtle, and then Turtle isolated themselves instead of staying with the team. That's how Inox was able to get the kill. And then the long-distance shots from Altec kept a lot in. Because Bjergsen does so much damage, he managed to finish him off. If Bjergsen doesn't land the spells on Altec the way that is, TSM actually gets aced.
They actually had, again, the last tick to take down somebody in the game there on Altec. Did the same thing to Pobelter earlier by himself. And we have pretty full inventories here. A lot of wards coming in for both teams. They know that fight meant quite a bit in ground, and I believe it would make both teams weary as well. EG sitting just under 1,000 gold behind, or over, I should say. And they are really putting up good fights here against Team Solo Mid.
Yeah, we could be seeing upset number 2 if this continues. The only thing is, Inox is supposed to be that carry top laner. No, he's actually turning himself into a tank a little bit, which is giving them a better chance of playing a normal team fight, taking advantage of that damage reduction with his ultimate. Shouldn't have done that.
That's the cool thing. You ran to his ward.
Yeah. Trinket mishap right there. Trying to take on Darius as well. He's feeling real strong. And Darius isolating himself. Inox.
I like this.
Yeah.
EG says, come over, fold into the jungle. Maybe we
If they
can
get
catch
spotted by
somebody.
a ward, the Baron is dead.
But this doesn't look like they're formulating on the right side of the map here, and TSM takes control of that. Playing in the mind of EG right now as they sit pretty much parallel to each other here between mid and the left side of the river. In and out the kick just to spread out a bit of damage, and he does do good 1,500 damage across the board to 3 members. Amazing, going for the max range kick in. He gets himself out with the sigil on. Does not get the full silence there. Culling coming in from Wild Turtle as well. And they are just punishing down EG's health bars. This could be an impossible Baron contest.
Tremendous harass done by TSM there. Just a kick basically to get them a little bit low. Also burning the ultimate of Inox. He was the main guy that gave him extended trouble in that last Baron fight. TSM continuing to try and use this Baron as a bait to win the game.
Only 2 members of EG can sustain themselves back up here, being Inox and Altec, at least with low HP. So.
He needs more time though. It's the ultimate that Altec really, or that Inox really needs to make it into that fight. Oh, when they push mid, they might actually be ahead on this base race. They got to be a little squeamish after yesterday though.
This is going to be Inox actually tanking up the turret. He's going to have to get out of there, so they're going to be low even if the back happens. You have to be very careful.
Yeah, but the minion wave was not there for EG, so it actually means TSM pushes faster because they don't have to deal with the backdoor bonus. Another missed turret trade by EG.
Evil Geniuses feeling the pressure once again. It's not all the way to the Nexus this time, but I'm sure they were sweating that play.
Yeah, so another bit of their defense falls.
Breadcrumb wards all the way through the jungle, and they have pure vision onto Baron. Here's the setup. Doesn't look like they're going to start any damage to it, but they're going to huddle themselves in and prepare for the fight.
They got to check. Parting together right there. Much better than last time. And
Really?
they might try this posture up the mid lane again. They got to remember they have an exposed inhibitor. They can't actually pull off this turret successfully unless they think they can. How long can that turret last before TSM goes? Maybe because of the minions and the positioning, they can drop that turret quickly. But oh man.
Nope.
What are they doing?
It's
They're not playing this very well.
They're not foreseeing the plays as they're happening. They're saying, can we do this? And then they realize they can't. Inhibitor goes down now. 2 calls to pressure on TSM's base and cost them theirs.
They get nothing in return this time. Altec, the only one to stay. That does not seem like people are on the same page right now.
There we go.
They get a turret for an inhibitor. Bad trade. And now TSM has even more control over the Baron Pit because there's super minions coming on one side, a monstrous wave that Inox has to go clear on the other. And catch potential all over the place.
Whoa, Dyrone getting a little too hypey there. Throws out a ward, he thought he was safe. Look how much vision TSM has. Wouldn't you feel safe? Inox going in, looks like he's gonna be right in the middle of the fight. A huge kill onto Wild Turtle. EG coming out of nowhere with this one. And TSM knows they need to run for the hills. This will be the inhibitor in the mid lane, but Bjergsen's still up. That ult is down. He can still put out damage.
Inox didn't have time to finish off the wave in the bottom lane either, so EG has to be very fleeting with this push. They got to get the inhibitor and then get back to save their base from minions.
They got the ping on it. They already know it's going to go down. This is a huge wave in the bottom lane. It's going to be met, but these caster minions will be taking down that turret eventually. EG with a great push. They've got the
Yeah.
mid inhibitor now.
I mean, getting the catch onto Dyrus was absolutely crucial. They're not going back. They're going to be in pink wards here. They still have 25 seconds on Turtle, 18 seconds on Dyrus. They want to be able to go for that one, but their base could not stand for that long.
They get one, but they also lose one, and that Nexus turret
Almost,
take
yeah.
quite
They
a bit
didn't go
of
back.
damage.
That Nexus turret would have went down.
Got the
and there would
regen.
be no guarantee on the Baron either.
They are moving out of the base. They got their own super minions.
Altec needs to be the one clearing these minions, but he is staying in the mid lane farming, and this means Baron most likely for TSM. Inox does not have a teleport. And it's a tricky situation. There are so many map advantages for TSM right now that EG has to overcome in this really close game.
Hard fought across the board. The mid laners having a great impact at 3-1-3 for Pobalter and 3-1-2 for Bjergsen. Third day of Super Week, definitely turning some games on top of their own heads.
Yeah,
And
two
right now we're
90%
seeing-
votes in a row. Complexity was a 9%
Yeah.
chance to win. This one, EG was under 10% as well, and they're putting up one hell of a fight. They withstood being down 3 turrets to 0 early on in the game. You almost never see teams come back from that because it just means there's so much control they have to overcome. But maybe it's the fact that TSM still has these 2 new team members, Amazing and Glebe. They've played well individually, but the team overall hasn't been able to make those plays, especially late game. Remember, with new team members, just like new champions, playing games, the laning phase is going to work pretty early on. But as soon as you come in and the game becomes more dynamic, it's different every time, you can't practice that type of repetition with late game decision making.
Right now, the safety and late game decision making by EG has definitely been a plus. Some of the calls really going against them, but to stay in it in this way and then find an inhibitor and inhibitor turret themselves, especially against Team Solo Mid, who, like they said, take an inch to get a mile, and they're trying to do that right now. Clearing down the mid lane. BX are going to be throwing around some super minions as TSM still posturing for this Baron until they have the right time.
Yeah, but their Baron damage isn't that high. Wild Turtle will do a lot of it, and this Baron can go down pretty fast at this point because Turtle's so fed, but they're in real danger getting collapsed on. Great scrying orb right there by EG. See exactly what they need to do.
Keeping them very safe on the entrance. This is just free damage from Baron going on to Dyrus right now. Good hooks from Altec coming in. Easily saved with the Banshee's Veil, even if the hook decides to click. And they stay safe on this one. Inox was ready to jump into that fight to the back line. Great positioning by him the entire game so far to get to Turtle whenever he can.
Gotta hand it to EG. The scrying orb is exactly what they need when the other team has such ward control over Baron. The one way to not have to face check a Thresh hook when they have vision control. Scry it from 2,500 units away and get them off of it. Great job by EG.
That's exactly the one way they killed Snoopy previously. Banshee's Veil is going to be very helpful for whoever Bjergsen can really get his hands onto. He's kind of nullifying that entrance effect into the fight with his front end damage. Everybody's getting big right now. We're about to see those full items. 43 minutes in. Everybody loving the hype of Super Week all across the board. 9-9, 66.7 to 67.8. And like you said, Jat, somehow EG leveled out that turret game instantly.
Yeah, and also Altec went defensive 4th item, which is probably pretty good, considering Bjergsen can instantly kill someone. Wild Turtle did not. He's already died 5 times. So if Pobelter finds a catch on a Turtle, he could swing the game again. Turtle is not positioned well so far in the Super Week, and any type of catch could actually mean the end of TSM's game.
Inhibitor respawn coming up. Such an intense game right now. The next move could be the wrong one. Could mean the end of the game, as Azania's has been finished up on Bjergsen for a while. We have not seen that in a playmaking instance. And I'm sure he'll get himself into a sticky situation that really turns it for TSM. And Mikhail's Crucible also there to assist in that play. EG, like we saw, building
they kept
defensive
amazing
items. That's exactly what they needed. Nobody's able to continuously follow that one to get the Hex Drinker off. Give the help out there as well with the Mikhails.
Everything got used on.
Yep.
Even the face of the Mountain Shield.
Yeah.
Which means EG's pick game continues. A binding would have ended Glebe's life there, but he dodges it. So tense around. EG actually taking a lot of this control back for themselves. Oh, Dyrus, how much damage can they actually follow with, though?
Small bite, a little nibble. How much they could do there, but EG getting these chances. TSM cannot let that happen.
And I wonder if everyone just continues going back to Baron or if they try and find new ways of winning this game, because there is an exposed inhibitor, remember, for TSM. However, it's on the wrong side of the map. Darius gets caught around Baron.
Once again, they're using Glebe. Maybe they're trying to really get a big ultimate out. Right now, EG is being very safe in their engages.
If we're speaking about picks, EG has much more potential for that. Elise, Morgana, even a LeBlanc finding the right thing, whereas TSM pretty much just has Thresh or a nice Synchro stun. This is EG's game if they actually get to play the pick war around Baron. TSM has to change it. Either go all in as 5 or stop playing this one. The Baron is started on EG. They're doing a lot of damage.
Crapo playing the defense, ready to throw down the Soul Shackle. He's got to go all the way down, though. They stop on Dragon to teleport in. A very good move as Dyrus slices out. You can see Altec trying to keep the damage onto Baron. Everybody's looking for a good fight. Inox, he gets hit up, throws down the invisibility, but the Tempest cripples on, and they can still see him. Wild Turtle's very low with that Face of the Mountain shield on, and he will go down. No, he lives in the end. That was Elise going down. Snoopy hits the ground hard. Pobelter tries to get the Ethereal Chain on as Crepo's out of the fight. TSM has won the Baron possession.
Man, Wild Turtle survived because Glebe saved him with all the shields. Look at those actives. He used Lock of the Iron Solari and Face of the Mountain. He's been able to build that just to save Turtle and let him build offensively. But they're all so low. At the end of the day, Snoopy's the only one that goes down and TSM goes back to base. Wow, that fight was so disadvantaged for TSM from the very beginning. And once again, Wild Turtle gets completely jumped on by Pobelter, and unless Glebe builds that item build, which very few people actually do on Thresh, double shield plus a heal from Mikhail's, he's got 3 shields
and
now
he can
use because of Thresh in his Lantern. He's doing all he can to keep Wild Turtle alive.
It's a tough,
it's desperate.
tough situation.
TSM might get this Baron though.
He got hired for the job, and so far, he's doing all right.
It's a 5v4. This would be almost impossible for EG to defend because of the long death timer on a Snoopy.
19 seconds on Dragon. It's not even going to be something that would really put EG's gold back where they need it to be.
Oh,
that's a big catch right there. Inox once again, the front catch. Good damage back onto Wild Turtle, but there's no connect there with the rest of the team. Glebe takes himself for a ride. Amazing comes along as well in the carpool, and it looks like they're going to head down the mid lane with 60 seconds on the Death Chamber for EG.
Wild Turtle finally played that fight right. He gets away, he baits Pobelter to go in, and it was a 4v5. That was a really tall task for EG. TSM now, after such a long and dangerous siege, has the edge, going in with 5 people with Baron.
Still waiting for minion waves to come in, but is it anything that they need? Dyrus is quite big right now. The Randuins as well onto Amazing, and Glebe himself can be taking up these Nexus turrets. If necessary, they're going for a little bit more before they go forward.
Still 30 seconds on Inox and Crepo. So slow and steady, winning the race right now for TSM.
Oh, Bjergsen. They're looking to stall time here. That damage on Bjergsen makes them a little less likely to go all the way in for what they need. They say Dragon's up. Let's get a bit of extra gold. Huge power play there for TSM.
Yeah, taking another look at this fight, you can really see the hook by Glebe on the stealth target is really what started it all. Pobelter tried to go in for Wild Turtle, but again, the Mikhail's just used on him to make sure he stayed safe. Wild Turtle doesn't have to be a part of that because it is a 4v5. And then a Lantern saved him from the last one as well. Glebe doing everything to keep Wild Turtle alive.
Nope. Very, very close. This game's going for the long haul. We got 3 champions, 3 players over 400 CS on this one, getting very close to 6 items across the board for multiple members in the game. An Infinity Edge to now be built out here for Altec on Corki. Looks pretty stacked on the side of Wild Turtle.
Yeah, gets that GA. Yep. That's going to make a world of difference. Also consider Bjergsen is at 5 offensive items at this point he can blow up. Even an Inox or a Snoopy if he gets the right type of ultimate off on him.
Right.
Even with Banshee's Veils being built up on Altec and Crepo, he could still probably take one of them down. And the Baron buff with 2 inhibitors down. They're doing the classic thing everybody does. 2 inhibitors down, push the 3rd inhibitor. The minions alone will be enough to pressure somebody off, and they can hopefully take an edge as long as they don't get picked in this short time it takes for the super minions to reach the base.
Well, they only have a little time on mid. River's still past half, so they have some time here to toy with EG in the bottom lane, the map being objective free of Baron and Dragon. They're going to breathe right down the throats of evil geniuses for the next 5-10 minutes. Blue buff onto Bjergsen. They're going to be able to keep spitting out Scatter the Weak. Looks like right there onto Snoopy. They try to add some extra damage. Not too much. The backline distortion. Huge damage going across 3 members of TSM, but it's only to deter them from continuing to push. It doesn't look like it worked too well.
Yeah, that double distortion doing a number on him. Pobelter going back to heal. If anyone from TSM could have landed something as he jumped in, it would have been the end of the game, but Pobelter doing that harass just to keep them alive. They need that window of time to clear the super minions in their base.
Top wave is about to come crashing in, Jad. Just a few
Didn't
seconds,
work that
goes
time.
gone. Pobelter goes down, the focus of Team Solo Mid. They tunnel right in onto him. Bjergsen is just baiting everybody along like a carrot on a string. They think they can get the kill on him, but it will not happen. Snoopy goes down. Creppo will be the next one if they can finalize it. The piercing lights hit. Here comes the sonic waves, a resonating strike. There's amazing within range. It's going to be the inhibitors. 60 seconds across the clock for Evil Geniuses. TSM is going to be taking the game.
And it took them a while, but they avoid the upset at the hands of Evil Geniuses and finish 3-1 for Super Week. Not all that bad.
TSM, another team, as Cloud9 is, to come out and want to win a very heavily motivated and powerful game. Not so much this time, but like you said, they do find the win over Evil Geniuses.
You can see Glebe kind of shaking his head after that one. He had to do a lot in that game to guide them to victory. 2-2-12 on his Thresh. Lot of clutch shields, and honestly amazing 4-0-7. It wasn't the new guys that were actually faltering in this game. It was the old guard a little bit for TSM, the wild turtle position.
Yeah.
Dyrus getting caught out a few times and having some issues dealing with Inox over in that top lane. But at the end of the day, EG falls, TSM is victorious.
EG definitely looking better though from day to day now. That was much more solid play, much more solid calls. They still somewhat fell back into it for a second, but were able to adapt quickly and get that back, something where they would have sat back and kind of just been sorry about the situation.
Yeah, this was the day that the bottom tier team started bringing the pain to the rest of the LCS.
Yeah.
Complexity took down Cloud9, and EG nearly took down TSM, but it was not to be 2 upsets. Had to just be 1.
Glebe versus Altek, a very well-fought featured matchup between those two.
Yeah.
Glebe making sure that he got a few kills on his former AD carry.
Hyper late game as well, the game making it to 50 minutes. Corki definitely starts falling off in comparison to Lucian.
Right.
When a lot of just general resistance get built up into the other team, Corki has a very hard time getting both magic and armor penetration, so he falls off. That definitely happened for EG. They had a pick-focused team.
Yeah.
As soon as they got pushed into the same spot and weren't able to get the picks right when they had that moment, it was TSM who could take it home.
And a game that tested the junglers as well. For so long, we saw both Snoopy and Amazing being 0-0 and 0 across the board, kind of just helping with the presence of where they were. At the end of the game, Amazing now 4-0 and 7. So even the patience of TSM to say everybody needs to get a little bit fed here is what they were waiting for. And 4-0-7 at the end of the game from 0-0-0 is huge.
Yeah, and the slowness of the game almost benefited EG. Right? Because within the laning phase, they actually weren't doing that well. It was more the macro game where they really struggled yesterday against CLG, where they showed a pretty big stride of improvement. I think especially as Altek gets more used to playing with Creppo and they get more experience, their laning should improve. You know, EG did show some bright spots there against TSM.
Right. They know when to take the advantage. They went from 0 turrets to almost 5 to 6 turrets immediately. Yeah. That's a huge influx of gold. If they can do that on their own terms, you got another team that's going to be in the top. That's all you got to do.
But
a lot easier said than done.
At the same time, you know, how many strong teams do we have in NA right now? It's really hard to power rank at this point because everyone has played very different schedules. You know, LMQ came out 4-0. Dignitas has a chance to go 4-0. But Cloud9, they play CLG later. One of those teams is going to be, well, Cloud9, the best they can hope for is 2-2.
Right.
Who would have thought of that? What if Cloud9 ends up Super Week 1-3? They had a really tough schedule. They kind of ran the gauntlet here. But, I mean, what are there, 5 teams, 6 teams that are all competing for those top spots?
And a lot of the teams came in saying that the benefits would really go towards Cloud9 for not having a roster change.
Yeah.
And really, it affects everybody, even a small timeout and not even a new member on the roster. So you really see what these guys have to go through just from day to day, and then seeing a team like Complexity come out as they did.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, it's Complexity and LMQ that have the most stable rosters because they had the exact same roster from the Challengers Series 1 and Series 2 the entire spring. And they took those into the LCS. We never know.
You never know, indeed, especially today showing that true. For some post-game perspective now, we're going to throw it over to the guys at the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Riv. Want to welcome the dynamic European duo here on TSM, Bjergsen and Amazing. Guys, welcome to the desk. So that was a rather hectic game, 51 minutes almost. What happened?
I don't really know. I just feel like every time we actually had set up the Baron properly, someone kind of just got caught. And then we just like had to reset the entire process of like 3 minutes or 4 minutes of setting up the Baron properly with vision and waves and all that stuff. And then someone just kind of got caught. I think that happened 3 times. It's delayed the game by a lot and gave them a lot of control. And we could definitely have lost that game.
Someone
So
bottom lanes.
I've had a kind of theme of the day is shot calling for all the different teams. Now you guys with 2 new players, how is the in-game shot calling working with your new team? But also, who's coming up with strategies before you get to the games?
Well, like during the game, it's mostly like me, Glebe, and Bjergsen doing the calls. Like Darius gives info, like Turtle gives info about his positioning. But usually, like we try to make the calls for the team and really try to set up stuff. Whereas like the pre-game strategy is really shifted towards Bjergsen, Glebe, who's doing a lot for the team, like as a new guy. Like those 2 guys really come up with a lot of stuff, and I don't know, like it works really well right now.
So talking about sort of making calls for the team, I want to draw a comparison between you and Meteos. So you're obviously an amazing jungler. That wasn't intentional, but you're phenomenally skilled. I didn't mean it. You're a phenomenally skilled jungler.
When he tries to do it, they'll be better, right?
Yeah, it'll
That
be
was
worse.
bad.
It'll be worse when I actually try. So Meteos, for example, is a style of jungler where he just asks his team to give him information, and he'll just make a decision and be like, oh, I'm going top now. How do you sort of determine your play style and how you help the team?
Like right now, it's like usually in my old team, CW was like I decided the calls early game. Like I decided what to do in the lanes, feed me info. Right now, it's kind of different because I'm coming to a new team, so you have to adapt. You have to bring your own plays into. So I'm just trying to do my best to cover my lanes at certain times when they want me to be there. Like I don't really have the decision making right now in the early game, which may shift later on in the season. But as it goes now, like I'm just trying to help our lanes when they call up.
Okay, so then actually let's fast forward a little bit into the game to the first of many, or I guess one of many Baron fights. This is one where you get, I believe it's 2 catches early on. If we can pull the replay up on the screen. I want you guys to walk me through either one.
All right,
set up for Baron.
I can. I think this is, I don't really remember this. Oh yeah, we set up for the Baron and we actually get a catch on Snoopy. But it's really hard to just like pin him down. So we wait up until he comes down from his rappel. We go back on the Baron here. I'm not sure if that was really the right choice because they have really good assassination with the LeBlanc and Kha'Zix. And we just keep getting poked by Corki and Kha'Zix. So luckily we get a catch on Crepo. And we just go back up Baron again.
Yeah, 3v5 should be easy, right?
Not really. It's just they keep poking us. I'm already half HP here. Pole Belter does like crazy damage on Turtle, and Turtle just like pretty much instantly dies. And I go for the pick on Altec. I kill myself to kill him, but it was the last Ignite tick, so I'm not sure if that was worth it either. But I think after killing Crepo, we could have we had plenty of time to like recall and just set up all the vision again, and we could do the exact same thing again, but possibly get a pick on either Inox or Pole Belter, which were really the main players who stop us from getting the Baron.
It's got to be hard to make the decision, like, do we take the 2 for 0 and leave, or do we go for the 5v3 with a jungler dead?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
99% of people would be like, oh, just kill Baron, jungler's dead.
Of course, that's what we did.
Sure.
And it probably wasn't the best decision in that specific play.
Okay. So Amazing, I want to ask you about something, because you're a big Kha'Zix player as a jungler. Kha'Zix is a great jungler. Top lane Kha'Zix gave you guys a little bit of trouble for a while. Is there a big difference in what Kha'Zix will do when he's top lane? Did you guys even expect to play against this?
We really expected, actually. Like we tried to pick his Lee Sin away because Inox has been showing like really great performance on Lee Sin. So we wanted to force him onto Kha'Zix, actually. The problem with top lane Kha'Zix is that if he's able to 1v1 the top laner, there's no chance that you can actually like split push at all. He's just gonna kill you over and over and over again. A jungle Kha'Zix like will farm more, takes more time to scale up in my opinion. Like will have his AD jungle item afterwards, tries to gank lanes. It's just like a mix up. I don't know. Like it was really giving us problems because we were not really able to get plays onto him. I tried a lot. Snoopy was able to get some counter ganks in. So we had like the 2v2 potential on top, but we never really focused anyone down. So there was no scaling for Nectin. Which we should have had during mid-game, where he could have like trashed Kha'Zix basically, but that never happened. So we just wasted our potential early game, and Kha'Zix was able to do something mid-game.
Okay, so then walk me through actually a second replay we have. This is the Baron fight that actually wins you guys the game, I believe. We can pull that replay up. And this is basically, I guess, just amazing. Walk me through this one.
So let me remember the situation. We start off
sure.
the Nash again.
Yeah, Snoopy just respawned,
Yep,
so we're on
exactly.
Baron.
Like we took a long time to set it up already, but we wanted to really finish this. So we're just trying to get a catch onto someone. We catch Inox, who's getting bursted down pretty easily by our Syndra. Wild Turtle almost gets killed by Pobota again. Whereas we just keep poking people. Glebe really good catches that game, and we just try to end the game from there.
And you do end the game. You guys end the week going 3-1. Your only loss to Cloud9. The Cloud9 that looks to be actually struggling right now. After seeing especially the last game with the mix-ups with shot calling, what are your takes on Cloud9 coming back from All-Stars?
I just think they took a break after All-Stars, and so they only had, I think they practiced not that much, at least not as much as other teams. And I feel like they should have maybe used more time going or practicing for the Super Week, and that's why they're not looking as strong. But C9 is always a team that if they lose one game, they just step it up. They focus only on League. They just become back to being the powerhouse, and I think that's what we're going to see next week.
So speaking of powerhouses, TSM, you guys have always been top 2 North America. Since C9 joined the scene, you guys haven't quite taken #1 just yet. But two-part question here. One, if your team stays at the power it is right now, where you guys have kind of just come together, where would you finish? And two, given the whole season to grow as a team, where are you going to finish?
Like right now, we're still struggling to adapt to one another. It's obvious, like just coming into LCS again, like getting used to the schedule again. We would finish like, in my opinion, 4th or 5th. As the season progresses, however, we'll get together even better and really try to focus on getting better as individuals, and then focus to get better as a team. And if that happens, I think we should finish top 2 and really get our world's placement.
Bjergsen, how about you?
I would also say 3rd or 4th place. We have Dignitas coming up looking really strong. LMQ also looking really strong going 4-0. So I think if we were going to be at the strength we are now, we would probably be 4th place, I would say. But we're really aiming to get that top 2. And with the new team, we have a lot more planning going into games. And I think we're going to look stronger overall as we progress through the season.
Well, cool. Hope to watch that growth from you guys. Guys, congratulations on a 3-1 start to Super Week, which is a pretty damn good record. Now, guys, we've got a couple more games to go, though. We're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned to see if your Twitter response was selected by our crack team of Twitter readers. Then we'll jump into our next game, Team Curse versus Dignitas. 2014 Summer Split continues in 3.5 minutes.
Good job. We can walk up here.
Like we can still wait because we have lots of time.
Turtle molting him.
Oh, nice.
Good.
Nice.
I'm flashing.
Inox.
Closest target. Closest target. Kill closest target. Good. Keep sliding.
Stupid.
Crepo on Crepo.
Stupid.
Good.
I'm on Crepo.
You're gonna stand the game. You can go mid and end the game.